And I believe their winter was a lot like our winter, with both teams not coming out as, on the winning side of the game. Both very emotional games. Theirs a bowl game, ours was a rival game. So I assume the winter conditioning program was very intense at the University of Tennessee, as it was at the University of Montana. So, those types of things will play out. Tremaine's really done just about everything correctly along the way, and his discipline, I believe, is as high as it's ever been. Once in a while he would get caught, against some opponents, and I hope that doesn't happen at all next, this coming fall in our games. But I believe he's as disciplined as he's ever been in his entire life, and that's true off the field as it is on. So that's an exciting part of our defense. I think it helps, Caleb and the rest of the backers knowing that, boy, they can really trust him, and then it's it's shoring up the other 3 spots in the secondary, which are really going to be, for the most part, new players. I think that is an advantage. Every position we have a few players that were here in '09 and played quite a few reps for us, and played in 15 games. That's a long season, and somehow we have to capitalize on that as the game goes on. I think we have to play a lot of players in this particular game, and probably the early part of our entire season, because of not knowing exactly where we are in a few spots, but also for just the ability to stay fresh. That will be a key issue in the state of Tennessee, with the humidity, the crowd, the excitement, all those things. And I believe Coach Smith and Coach Bresky feel, as I do, that we trust some of the second teamers and a few of those third teamers, that they're going to get some reps and go out there and do what you can and spell some of our ones, because it's going to be anytime you have a lot of emotion, it takes a lot of physical stamina away from the human body. So we have to watch for that. Well, we do crowd noise at practice as often as we can. We try to turn it up as loud as we can until someone in the building turns it down. I don't know how else to say that, but that's about the best thing you can do, is get used to having noise, throughout your helmet the whole part of practice, because that's the way it's going to be. I've heard they play their fight song somewhere in the neighborhood of 46 times per game, and that's a lot. Thank goodness there'll be some TV timeouts now, so maybe we'll be used to that song. There's no question. We'll be used to the song, and we'll be used to crowd noise. You cannot simulate the humidity, and you cannot simulate the crowd, the size of the crowd.
Jordan, talk a little bit about starting against Tennessee. I don't know.
Well, if you look at the Oregon game close, Tennessee totally dominated Oregon for about a quarter and a half. It really was all about the Orange team. It really was. And it took a while for Oregon to get going. Was that part of the hurry-up pace? Was that part of Oregon's adjustment? Probably a combination of all the above. But it took Oregon a while to get going. So, what we're studying off the Oregon video and Kentucky is really, attempting not to make the same mistakes that they did, or maybe calling certain plays that are similar in our offense as they are to those two schools, and playing from there. Now they'll have some different players out there, and they have some outstanding players on defense that can cause a lot of havoc amongst themselves, and then when you gang up on a bunch of people, that could pose some real problems. But I think it's been a great study for our players. It's been a great study for our coaching staff. That's the fun part of coaching, is when you've knocked heads around and you finally get to see a different colored jersey, and they're going to look good in those jerseys. There's no question. But so will our guys, and we're going to have 4,000 people there, so we're going to listen for the Grizzly fans too. But I think that is really neat to put all your pieces together, and your final checklist with your assistant coaches, and everything's done, and now you get to turn it over to your children, so to speak, and you've done all you can do. Now it's their time to go shine. You know, there's some subtle differences. I think just in the trip itself, the amount of time you're in the air, all those management issues, some of them you don't have any control over, or the preparation for the game. But when that game starts, you know, it's still a 100-yard field, you know, and it's 53 1/3 across, and the hashes are going to be the same spots, and there's just going to be a lot of orange, you know. So, you know, I think once the game starts, like I said, we're going to turn it over and you know, let our guys go play. Well, you know, their O-line's a big O-line. I mean, they're, 320 all the way across, it looks like, 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". We do have some big O-linemen, probably not all the way across the board height-wise and that type of deal with those types of players. But, you know, I've studied their O-line to a certain degree. You know, I like our matchups. Our D-line isn't going to be anywhere near as big. I like, you know, how our D-line's been moving around in practice. A couple guys have had very good fall camps. So I'm very excited to see that part of the game. You know, keep those guys off, you know, our linebackers, so our linebackers can go hunt, so to speak, and make those plays. And I feel very confident that our linebackers can do that. You know, we talk about Malik Jackson. He's just an incredible player, and he's got great size. So that's going to be an issue too. A guy that can pass rush like him with very good size. We really don't have someone like that on our defensive line. So, I mean, in one game, I think it was UAB. He intercepted a screen, and, you know, a bubble screen, which we run, and the running back was right by him, and he beat the running back to the end zone in a 35-yard run. So we don't want him to have the football, is my point. The guys playing across are probably going to be a lot different looking than Western State was last year. But it's just like when you're a little kid. You've never been to Disneyland. You got to go, right? You got to go see what it's like. So it's the same thing, whether you're Western State or Tennessee. You know, we're going to go back there and see what they look like and play the game.
I'm just excited for this game as I am any other game. I know the venue will be unlike any place I've ever been, and we'll be playing probably the best team that I'll see in my career and definitely this year. So it's very exciting, and we just have to make sure to do everything right this week in practice and preparation to give us our best chance to compete and win this game. Yeah, I would say on offense they're pretty multiple in formations, and so we've spent a lot of time in the film room understanding and becoming clear on how to get a line properly, because if you can't line up against these guys, you've got no chance. So I'd say more than anything, it'd be getting lined up correctly, and again, we've been stressing the importance of the open field tackles and being sound in our technique. We just, as a defense, again, practicing with the crowd noise, we get the call, we communicate amongst ourselves, whether that is hand signals or pointing or whatever we need to do. So if it's going to be, you know, less loud now that we're on the road, then that doesn't really affect us too much. I still think it'll be pretty loud. I think it helped us through camp, just kind of having that goal being a huge SEC football game at the end of camp. So I think we've all worked extremely hard. I know that the seniors and you know, everybody else on this team is really invested in what we're trying to do, and it's going to be a great way to start off the season, and we're extremely excited about it. We're more comfortable with the system overall. I expect less assignment errors across the board, and again, another year to work on our techniques and things like that. I just think that we'll be better in the mental aspect.
Coach, you know, it's going to be a great experience playing in front of 100,000 plus people, but right now that's not really our focus. We're just trying to get better every day, and you know, we're trying to be at our best on Saturday. I know that it's going to be different than anything I've ever seen, but you know, it's not like I'm the only player out there. I'm out there with 10 other guys, and you know, you just got to trust your teammates and, you know, make plays when they need to be made. they're big and fast, kind of like all their other players, but just, you know, if they mess up, you got to take advantage. But I don't know, they're going to be good. I'd say it'll help us on Saturday. I don't think it really changes how we're going to prepare at all, but, you know, having one of their better players, it'd be like us not having Tremaine. It definitely is going to hurt them, but we just got to focus on us.